Este video va a ser un poquito diferente, voy a estar hablando Spanglish y el video de hoy se trata sobre cómo me enteré que estaba embarazada y por poquito, tengo una aborción. Disclaimer. I'm not here to change anybody's mind about abortion, if it's right, if it's wrong. Es tu opinión, es tu cuerpo. Si tú crees que es lo mejor para ti, hazlo. Estás en tu derecho. Another thing, I don't want to hear que tú creciste en la iglesia, que cómo vas a pensar tal cosa, que Dios, que te va a castigar, que no sé qué. Mira, sí, yo fui a la iglesia toda mi vida, es cierto. Mis padres me enseñaron todo lo que pudieron. Yo solo un día crecí, me fui a trabajar, no me fui mal de la casa por si quieren decir que es lo que me pasa por irme. Sorry, pero algunas personas que son tan religiosas me han dicho eso, que oh, you left and that's what happens when you leave the house. No, it doesn't. And it wasn't in disobedience. It's life. And it happens. It's normal. Anyways, story time. So, para esto empezó, quiero decir, unos 2 años por ahí. Febrero 12, 2019. Yo tenía unos días sintiéndome rara y yo sabía que si me tomaba ese examen iba a ser positivo. Y voy al Walmart, me lo compro. I go home because I don't want Walmart to be forever that place where I found out I was pregnant. So I go home, I take the test y se los juro que no pasó ni un segundo para que esas 2 líneas se marcaran más azul que el cielo. Más azul. Dios mío, cuando veo esas 2 líneas, se me cae el mundo in my lap. It's like a slap in the face. Oh my gosh. Nunca jamás quiero sentirme de esa manera again. The worst feeling. It's like knowing that something's coming and you're not prepared for it at all. That was me. A scare that runs through your veins. Una corriente que te paraliza el cuerpo. Oh my goodness. Lloré, grité. Se los juro que hasta a un punto me reí de tanto emoción que no sabía cómo expresarme. No sé ni cómo mis roommates, no sé si ellas me escucharon o sé que mi otra roommate estaba en el living room hablando. No creo que me haya escuchado porque hubiera salido a correr a ver qué estaba pasando. ¿Por qué? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. That was horrible. I texted my friend and I was like, dude, this means I'm pregnant, right? She's like, yep, definitely. And I'm crying and I'm losing my head, I'm losing my mind. ¿Cómo le voy a decir a mis padres? Es lo único que pasaba por mi mente. ¿Y cómo le voy a decir a mis padres que estoy embarazada? I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't. So I decided to clean up my tears, go outside and talk to my roommate. Le digo, mira, me tomé un examen y se lo doy. Y me mira. Y yo me quiero reír porque su cara es como, no sé si me dijo o me dio la cara. Yo creo que sí me lo dijo. No lo dudo. Y me reí, pero lloré también. Digo, no sé, la verdad no tengo explicación. Pues a veces pasa que no te proteges, ¿verdad? No se los recomiendo. Siempre protéjense. Eso sí. Que no me vuelva a pasar, por favor, me muero. Me muero. Si ya estoy muerta, no me juzguen. Que ya lo siento, ya lo siento. And so, for some reason, we go to her sister's house y le digo a su hermana y que está feliz de la vida y yo aquí muriéndome, que Dios mío, ¿qué voy a hacer? Y así, oh my God, you're pregnant, oh my God, wanted to be a boy or girl, no sé qué. Y yo, yeah, sure. Y por eso entonces ya estaba un poquito más calmada. Platicamos, pasamos chéveres y me acuerdo que comimos ceviche porque se me antojaba tanto que me eché 2 o 3 bowls. Anyways, el día siguiente, ya amanecí con la cabeza fría y tomé mi decisión. Mi decisión fue tener una aborción. Razones por cuales yo no quería tener la barriga, no quería estrechar mi cuerpo. So, I don't want to go through that. And it wasn't much because I wasn't ready. It's more because I was being selfish with my body. And I just didn't want to go there, you know? And especially telling my parents, oh, no, I told my sister about it. And she threatened me that if I had an abortion, she was going to tell my parents. And so, I didn't care. I didn't care. I go to the clinic, and on my way to the clinic, I remember calling my group of friends, Yuri and Ale, and all these girls from high school, telling them the tea, you know, what had just happened. And I was like, I'm not keeping it. And my friends were trying to convince me, this and this and that, and I already had it in my head. Nobody's gonna convince me. Esa es mi decisión. Eso se va a hacer. And so on my whole way to the clinic, I was with that in mind, right? And so llego al parqueadero de la clínica. No sé si lo van a entender, pero it was a 2-way, and then it turns into 1 lane. And so you pay, that's the lane to pay. For the parking spot, I think it was like $15 or something like that. But I was broke. So I had to decide between parking my car or gas money. And of course, I chose gas money. Who's gonna pay $15 for parking? And so what I do, Lord, it's like this, right? And it turns into 1. There was barely any space. So I go in, I decide not to pay, right? So I'll go all the way this way to go the other way. Well, I knock off my right side mirror, and I get off nervously and just put it in the passenger seat. And so I'm looking for another parking lot that's free. And so I see these cars going in, and they're just going in like they're not paying. So I'm like, bingo. And I go in, right? And so as I start going into this parking lot, I see everything looks so fancy. So nice, and nice cars, and people are all dressed up. And this guy comes up to me. He looks at me like, ¿estás perdida o qué? And I knew I was in the wrong place. And he was a valet parking guy, valet. And I tell him, no, es que solo estoy buscando dónde parquearme, no voy a este hotel, ¿verdad? Voy al frente de este hotel. He said, oh, you're going to the clinic, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the clinic. He said, oh, okay, no, you're fine, go ahead, you're good. I know you're pregnant and stuff, it's okay. So I just go park my car, get off, walk in the clinic. I remember seeing everything. It was Valentine's Day theme. And I go to the front, and this lady is like, hi, what's your name? What's your appointment? What time is your appointment? Stuff like that. So I give it to her. And she gives me this little card. and it was a free parking ticket. And I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I just did all that freaking it was horrible. I felt like such an idiot because everything I had to go through just to park. And never mind that. Voy me siento. I'm looking around and I'm like, oh snap, I'm the only person without a person. Everybody's staring at me. Great. Tiempo perfecto para que me traiga la tierra. Porque ya era tiempo. I'm sitting and this lady comes in and she says she was on a jog and that she felt in her heart that she should come inside and sit with somebody and tell her story. And the front lady was like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't do that because, you know, it's not up to me. And she said, well, can I ask? And she said, yeah, you can ask, but I don't think so. You know, she was those mean ladies, front ladies, if you know what I'm talking about. And she's like, well, okay. She turned around and asked me, you can come sit down with me, please. Sálvame de esta soledad, por favor, por favor. So she comes and she sits down and she starts telling me her story. She says she was pregnant at I think she said it was 15, and her boyfriend, they were in high school and they had a bright future, right? And all she could think about was having an abortion. And turns out a couple of weeks go by and she couldn't do it. Her and her boyfriend were having problems and she felt like it was just right to have this baby. So she has a baby and he grows up, right? He's in high school at this moment, ready to go to college. And she says that he came in one day in the living room and he sits down with her and he says, you know what, Mom? She says, what? I'm so happy that you kept me. I'm living a great life, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made it. She started to cry so bad. And then I started to cry when she told me that story. And she said, what's your story? Blah, 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 blah. I told her my story. She said, oh my God, you know, I'm here for you. If you need anything, you know, adoption is always choice. You don't have to have an abortion if you're not ready. I said, you know what, if I was to have the baby, adoption wouldn't be an option. But she said, okay, then, you know, you can have my number. If you need anything, I will be here for you. And I said, okay. I told her, just stay until I come back and we can exchange, you know, numbers. She said, sure, I'll stay right here. And I go in with the doctor. And this lady, she tells me, yes, you're 2 weeks pregnant. And what are you planning on doing? Sorry. And I tell her, well, I was thinking about abortion. And I said it just like that because she was older. And obviously older people have different opinions, and especially like it gets complicated with them. So she gave me a little face, but she wasn't judging me. And she said, okay, yada, yada, yada. At the end, she said, may I pray with you? And I was like, sure, you can pray for me. But that's still not going to change my mind. She said, that's fine. You know, I'm just trying to pray for you. I said, okay. She prays for me. And I remember I was blocking the whole prayer in my head. I was like, oh, amen, amen. Yeah, this is over because I want to get this through. And the prayer is done. And this other lady comes in. She's like, "Hi, are you ready for your ultrasound?" And I was like, ultrasound. Yo, if I knew I was gonna have an ultrasound that day, that same day, I would have left my house knowing that I was gonna take an ultrasound and that no matter what, I was not gonna change my decision. And I wasn't prepared for it. And so I was like, ooh, be strong. Stay by your opinion. And no matter what you see, you're gonna do what you say you was. And so I get up from my seat and I start walking towards the other room. And I remember walking slow, because I didn't want to get there. I didn't want to go into that room. And as I walk in the room, I feel this coldness coming through. And she hands me this little baby toy. She's like, "Your baby's about this big and it looks like this." And I was like, "Oh, cute, put it back." And she said, "Just get undressed and put this white thing, paper, whatever, on you y acostate." I said, "Okay." And as soon as she shut the door for me to get undressed, I felt something in my heart. I don't know what it was, but I felt alone, scared, didn't know what to expect. And I remember sitting there like, yo, I'm really going through this alone. And oh my gosh, it still haunts me to this day. But she knocks on the door. "You ready?" "Yeah, whatever." So she comes in, puts a little, that little cream, whatever, on you, and then starts looking for the baby. And she finds it. And she says, "You see that little thing? Una cosilla así, miren. Así muy chiquita." She said, "That's his heart." And I'm like, "Oh, that's his heart. Oh, so cute." And then I start hearing the pounding. When I heard the pounding of his heart, it's like mine stopped. I felt again what I felt when I found out that I was pregnant. Una corriente from my head to my toes. I don't know if I was frozen or on fire. Either or. That's how it felt. My breathing was heavy. I felt like as much as I wanted, there wasn't air coming in. Oh, I just felt it again. But it was something that I will never forget. And my whole way back home, I just could hear that pounding. Su latido de su corazón lo escuchaba over and over and over. And it was like a song to me. And it just kept pounding and pounding, louder and louder. And I just cried and cried. I couldn't even see the streets. I remember I almost got like in 3 car accidents because it was so bad. And finally, when I was about to go into my apartment where I lived, or where I used to live, there was a park. And I remember going into a parking lot, and there was this kid, like about 1 or 2 years old, holding his dad's hand, and he had a lollipop. And he looks back at me, and he smiles. And then I busted out crying again. I park, and I don't know if you ever cried so much that you can't anymore, and you just lifeless. You're just like drained. And you're just like no emotion. Drained. And this song comes up. It's called Better Man. And in the middle of me going through this breakdown, I turned on the radio, and this song just hit me in a different way. I saw it as me being a better person for my baby. And the more the song came on, the more I can see me with my child. And the song was right. I could be a better person for this little one. And that's when I made my last decision. I was gonna keep this baby. Y no importa si estoy sola o con alguien, with or without somebody, and by my side, I'm going to raise this kid. I'm going to raise him the right way. And so I started getting happy about raising him, about teaching him about the world, teaching him about self-love, teaching him how to take care of himself, teaching him about how to treat a woman. You know, I started getting excited about all these things. And so I found my way out, and I found the light after the tunnel, like the lady said I would. And so without thinking about it, that day turned out to be the day an angel appears and saves my little angel. And I truly believe God sends people of angels and all these things to change people's lives. I truly believe it, and I truly believe she was my angel that specific day. And what I wanted to say to y'all was that no matter your circumstances, no matter if you're pregnant or you're planning on keeping it, you're not, or you're going through a divorce, or you're going through a breakup, or your life is changing, somebody died, your mom, your dad, or you can't see the light, just remember this. Grapes must be crushed to create wine, diamonds form under pressure, and seeds grow in darkness. So if you're going through something, which I know all of us are, and it's all different situations, we don't all know the whole story to things, I would suggest do some soul searching. And I don't mean go look for somebody to entertain or anything like that. I mean do some searching within you. Find your purpose, do something you love, do something new, read, write, do something about your situation, and you'll find your answers. Just dig a little deeper, think a little harder, and I promise you, just like magic, things will start happening for you. That's all for today.